welcome. Let me make sure I get all of the right titles here. Good. Comedian, producer, science journalist, it is Kyle Marian. Welcome, Kyle, to the stage!
Yay! Hello, everybody. How you doing?
Yeah. So, Kyle, you and I met at the New York City Science Communication Collective kind of thing that we've been working through.
Yeah, it's called a friend group.
It's a friend group, yes. It
Oh my God,
basically
chill.
It's essentially an opportunity for us all to come together and cry. But you are a scientist yourself, or you have a training in science.
Yes.
And so,
formers.
I want to hear about all your amazing science communication, all the cool shows that you're doing, as well as how they're so socially mindful and inclusive. But let's start with your path through science, if you will.
I was trained in physical anthropology, so I actually went on a path to do a PhD in human evolution. It gave me the opportunity to work with the New York City medical examiners, and that was before I chose workations for about 8 summers in Spain doing digs. Yeah.
What were you digging in Spain?
Mostly dirt.
Okay.
I don't know if anyone has ever done a dig in the room before.
Anybody ever dug anything ever?
Yeah.
We've got a lot of clean hands in the. Oh no, we
a
got
lot
one.
of
We
clean-
got
okay.
one.
Yeah, like most of the time that you're spending as an archaeologist, paleontologist, palynologist is literally just like digging dirt off of dirt, cleaning dirt, and then once in a while you get a stone.
A stone.
Yeah, a stone, and not always a bone, which is the thing that like physical anthropologists want.
We want bones, not stones.
We are boners,
Okay.
so we love a good boner.
I'm not going to touch that.
Okay.
Great. So where in Spain again? What was the dig site? What were you looking for in
So
Spain?
there are a few that I was involved with. If any of you guys had interest in paleoanthropology, Europe has a lot of history of doing digs and studying human evolution, and they've got 3 or 4 different species of humans that they have evidence for.
Homo sapiens,
Yes.
Neanderthals.
Okay.
Help me out.
Oh, that's right. Homo heidelbergensis, antecessor. There's a few others.
Okay.
When the spaces that I was working in, there were a couple of them, and the most famous one is called Atapuerca. And it is in this beautiful place in northern Spain called Burgos, which, I have a lot of fond memories of spending 8 years going back and digging with friends, and, the people become your community.
Yeah.
But the most exciting part of it was always the ways that we entertain each other when we're digging.
Okay.
And we're afterwards bringing all of that stuff back to the labs because
Right.
we have to clean it, we have to sort it, we have to catalog it. I feel like the thing that most people never ask me about is what amazing skills did I take away from all those years doing paleoanthropology?
Kyle, can I just ask, what
Yes.
were the amazing skills that you took away from all these years of doing physical anthropology?
Oh, thank you for asking. The number one skill I gained from 8 years of paleoanth is writing so legibly in such a tiny way on a grain of rice.
Wow.
Because
Really?
it is important to catalog every fucking single tiny damn thing that you find on a field site because
Yeah.
it tells you so much information about the past.
Fascinating.
So that is my number one skill
Is
from
writing
8
really,
years
really
of
small.
paleoanth. Yeah.
Amazing.
And making sure I take notes all the time. Science, whatever.
Yeah. But you eventually moved away from science. You moved away from
Yeah.
academia. And so maybe tell us a little bit more about what that process was.
For me, one of the things that I'd actually realized I'd fallen in love with was teaching. I fell in love with telling people stories about why we were out there, spending 2 months at a time digging for entire summers, spending our time in the dirt and really being excited about the things that we found, the stories about the movement of humans out of Africa and all around the world, the reasons why all our faces and our bodies are the way that they are today, why we walk on 2 feet. And then when I found myself coming out of my PhD, I'd realized I loved doing that part. What I hated was the politics of academia. And I wanted to actually make change, but I didn't want to do it because, my advisor only allowed me to study the one thing,
Right.
as opposed to doing more.
You reached this moment of realization, I don't like this. What are the next steps?
I decided to leave the U.S. and I actually transitioned into a master's. I went from a PhD program to a master's. I had all the skills to teach and I had all these skills to like do science, but I couldn't get a job if I wanted to at that time because I didn't feel like I had on paper what it would take to get any other job, even in journalism.
Right. Even in journalism.
Right.
Right, just, journalism.
Sorry.
Come on.
I mean, I didn't mean it that way, but I did.
Which eventually you did do, but maybe we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves.
Well, but like I think for me, it was like I needed to make a transition for myself and give myself the encouragement that like I could do this, and a master's program was one way to do that. So I ended up taking a one-year master's program out in Edinburgh in Scotland.
Which brings us to the fact that you have been in the Fringe Festival.
Yeah.
How was that experience? I think, is this...
So this is where I am now, but a huge part of why I ended up being a comedian was because I fell in love with comedy and stand-up in the UK. I didn't think I was a creative person at all. Like, I honestly, like, I didn't know storytelling. I, like, you know, my family was funny and my friends are funny. I'm Filipino. We're funny people. But I didn't actually think I would have the skills to be on a stage and, like, do the thing. And there was one day, and again, this is part of my transition out of academia, where like I went to a show with like my classmates, and we were just hanging out, and this girl gets up on the stage to do her set, and for 8 whole minutes, she spent 8 minutes just bitching about the PhD defense system.
Yeah.
Why the hell is she defending her entire 6-7 years of her life in front of a table of 3 people who are just making her doubt herself?
Yeah.
After all of that time spending it, you know, like just actually living and breathing her research. So like it was inspiring, and then I was like, okay, well, I got shit to say about academia and paleoanthropology, and I gave it a go and fell in love with comedy that way.
Amazing. So where have some of your comedy exploits taken you? What are some of the shows that you've been a part of?
Yeah. So at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, I don't know if you guys know it, but it's one of the largest like arts festivals in the world. There's actually 12 festivals happening at the same time in a 1-month span in Edinburgh. So like there's like a book festival, there's theater, comedy, there's music, and it is just thriving and bustling in this one span of a month. But for performers, it is a gym. It is a marathon of a month-long sprint of just performing over and over and over again and trying to sell tickets, bringing people to seats, sometimes only performing in front of one person. It really teaches you as a performer like what it takes for you to do the art and to do the business of the art. But then at the same time, if you're watching it, you realize just how many different ways people can like create something beautiful on stage.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you get to see a lot of creativity in that really short time span. And it just happens. And it's there.
Yeah.
You say that your shows are socially mindful. I mean, your shows are socially mindful, inclusive, and accessible. You mentioned your Filipino heritage. How does all that play into the work that you're doing now?
So this is a show that I put on here at Caveat in March of 2020. The day that we walked out of this show, at 7 p.m., we got news that the first case of COVID hit New York.
Wow.
That.
A round of applause.
Yes,
there
COVID.
Was a single round
Thank
of applause.
You. Yes, COVID. Thank you.
Wow.
So in January of 2020, I was actually at an Asian comedy festival. It was like the first of its kind here in New York City. It brought together so many people. Simultaneously, I was working in journalism. So like, you know, I was with community. But then I was also seeing all this news of like, you know, something's going on in China, no one knows what's going on, and then like the slow spread of just blame. And then January, February, I start to notice like Chinatown start to get emptier. The Asian hate started to rise up. Simultaneously, as a scientist, as a former scientist, and as a journalist, it was like the sea of misunderstanding and misinformation was coming. And I could feel it. I could feel it in my bones, and I couldn't sleep. And so I talked to my friend Esther, and we were like, do you want to just fucking put on a show? Like, we bring the comedians together, the Asian comics, to talk about anti-Asian hate, And then I bring the scientists, and we equip people with the actual science. I know a virologist who's also a comedian. I know, a couple of other people that we could bring to the show. We could get a whole bunch of masks and just start giving it out even before it was available. And we threw the show on in 2-3 weeks. And at the same time, journalism outlets like Sanjay Gupta, his fucking show on CNN, they were all struggling to tell the story of what was happening because it was unknown, it was so serious, and what do? That they were in our inboxes because they'd seen our show on Time Out. And they were like, we need you guys to tell us how you're coping with it.
Right.
And so we had now this Insider Edition, we had a full-on coverage of the show, but we had no idea that when my friend did his hip-hop cover about coronavirus taking over Broadway, that the week later Broadway would close down.
Yeah.
So the irony of it, but also it felt like the perfect way for me to use comedy to arm people with good information, but also, soothe the feelings that we were feeling about the racism that was coming at us at the same time.
I love that phrase, comedy arming people with good information.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Thank you so much for sharing that. Let's give her a round of applause. Thank you so much, Kyle. Now, we've got something very exciting. Our very first ever cooking segment on Science Tonight. Please welcome to the stage Arnaldus de Villanova, straight from the 14...